Wait, that didn't work. Hey, it's me, Jean-Luc Meisel from Indicron. And I'm here to tell you that we're going to have a really interesting afternoon. And with me, as usual, my cohort in crime, the man I can't get rid of. I keep trying to get these foot cuffs off, but it's just not working. The doctor.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, I love that intro, Doctor. That was really swell. And next to me, on my left or right side, I can't tell because it's all virtual, is the bloody Baron himself. Thank you, Lord. Mr. Mike Baron.
Yeah. Hello, folks.
Hello, Mr. Baron. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
It's wonderful having you here, as always. The last time we had you on, it was a smashing event. It was very interesting. We talked about Nexus.
Yes, well, as you know, Dark Horse will be publishing new Nexus later this year.
I love Nexus. I'm a big Nexus fan. That means you're going to tell me how great Nexus is going to be.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. In fact, we already have 70 pages completed.
Wow. Huh. Can you like take a little mobile snapshot of each of those pages and send them to me, please?
It's possible. If you will, are we friends on Facebook?
Oh no.
Well, I do. I think I have your email somewhere. And
I do.
Yeah, well, send me an email, will you, and remind me to do that.
Wow. Okay, you hit it. You heard it here, everyone. Mr. Mike Baron said he would send me mobile shots of Nexus.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. Hopefully, you're joking, but I hope you're not.
I'm not.
I'm not. That's fantastic. No, I'm really excited. Oh, and Ben's in the house. Hello, Ben.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm hanging Chuck.
You missed Mr. Baron telling me that he was going to send me photographs of the new Nexus pages.
Wow, see, that's pretty nice.
Nice. I think he might be insane.
Much to the chagrin of Dark Horse.
Well, it's just for me, Doctor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
God, you're not getting to look at any of those pages. Just tell you that straight up. Okay, well, maybe if you're nice, if you're really, really nice. So Ben, how's everything going on your side of the planet? I don't know where the hell you are. Where are you?
I'm in the swamps of Florida, North Florida. Actually, Mike, when you come down, we spotted a 12-foot gator on my uncle's property.
Oh, hold him for me.
I will. We can go. We can either hunt him. We can go. That could be our barbecue, or we could just go hang out with him.
Well, let's cook him up.
Hey, gator ribs are good.
So you heard it here, Mr. Mike Baron's going after gators.
I prefer rattlesnake. I think it's got a texture like shrimp. I like it better.
Yeah, snake's good.
This is getting disgusting.
So do iguanas. I understand there's a big business in Florida for people who love to eat iguanas. People from the Bahamas eat them all the time, and there are a number of restaurants that pay good money for those iguanas.
Wow, the show has gone off the rails. There's nothing I can do.
I haven't had one, but I'd eat iguana. Sure.
I want an iguana.
I want an iguana.
It's like those people in Louisiana that hunt nutria.
Nutria?
Yeah, nutria. That's the next big thing. That makes a big appearance in Florida Man #3.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. I was going to ask you about Florida Man. Does it have any gators in it?
Oh, a lot of gators. There's a gator on the cover. Did you see the cover?
No. Yeah, I saw. I think I did. I'm not sure.
Well, you know what? Let's see. Where can I? Oh, I can post it on the Hangout, can't I? Let me see.
Well, you can screen share if you've got it on your computer.
This thing is a mystery to me. I don't see how I can screen share it here.
Well, send it to me later, and I'll edit it and stick it in.
Let me see what I got here. Chat, screen share. Here we go. Screen share.
There you go. Wow.
All right.
We're educating one individual at a time on how to use Hangouts. Welcome to my show.
I still don't see how I can. I don't see how I can upload a photo here.
Well, if it's on the computer that you're streaming on, you screen share and then you just bring it up like you would normally. And there you go.
All right. see what you
Fedorable in the chat says Gator stew, Gator salad, Gator scampi, Gator grits, Gator and cheese.
Right on.
You know, here,
Yeah.
I'm going to post this. I'll post the cover on the cautionary page, and Ben will screen share it because he knows how to do these things.
That sounds good to me. Let's do that. Let's do that. That sounds brilliant.
And Chuck's going to be joining here in just a minute.
Okay, great.
We got him heads down. He's always writing. I got him. He's the master fictioneer here. Head fictioneer. So that's his job at Cautionary.
It's good to have a job, I've heard.
That's right. That's right.
Are you're taking that name Imagineer from somewhere?
Fictioneer. Fictioneer.
Fictioneer?
Okay, here we go. I got
Imagineering Pictionaria. Oh, I've no idea. I can't say.
Imagineers are what they call the engineers.
Now, imagine this guy with a hat and glasses. I'm just saying.
Okay, let's see it.
Who's that guy?
Oh, wait. Is that a frog? Wait, you got to zoom in a little bit there, Ben.
I think that's me.
Whoa.
No, that's the gator we're cooking up later.
The gator.
Oh, that was terrible looking.
You never eat gator? There you go.
Okay, you can't. Yeah, can you zoom in a little?
Are we watching?
Okay, well that looks great. Oh, we have the Mr. Chuck Dixon in the house. Hello, Mr. Dixon. Welcome. And he's on mute.
Hello.
Hello. You're doing well, sir. Just a little louder, please.
Louder and funnier, Chuck.
Louder and funnier. Just anything. Yeah, he's muted. Well, we have a grand display of innocent computer play.
Let's see.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think Mr. Dixon is talking, but unfortunately we can't hear you.
He's not talking right now. Do you see the mute microphone at the top, Chuck? The turn on camera and then mute microphone.
This is going so much better than I thought.
Oh, he muted his camera.
Great. Well, he's got a Bane in a suit. Mr. Chuck Dixon has a Bane icon there. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, that fits.
Yeah. It fits brilliantly. Okay, I'm going to start with a question, and I'll pose it to the Mr. Mike Barron. Mr. Barron, with such an illustrious, incredulous, spectacular career, I'd like to ask you, what was the highlight? If you look back on your career, not that it's over, sir. I'm not saying that by any means. But if you look up and you had to pick the most spectacular, gleaming moment, what would it be?
Oh, really? It's all it's all a blur to me. But
Okay.
To me, the most satisfying thing always is when I create something I'm very happy with, and right now I'm just delighted with Florida Man. I think it may be the best comic I've ever written. But I was gratified to win 2 Eisners in San Diego in 1993. And there have been a lot of high points. I love meeting my fans. There have been a lot of low points.
Well, the Eisner was the high point then.
Well, it was an honor, but I don't think about it too much. I am always thinking about my current project.
Right. But for the sake of the conversation and the context of this show.
Yeah.
All
Good
right.
enough.
Okay, good. I did it. I got an answer. I feel good now. Yeah, baby. This is not going to take a nosedive into the pits of hell. I'm really going to keep this alive. And of course, I would ask this to Mr. Chuck Dixon. Mr. Dixon, is your mic working, sir? And the answer is...
Can anybody hear me?
Yay!
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Dixon. How are you, sir?
Better now.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. I'm really excited. So I can say I've almost met the Mr. Chuck Dixon.
Yes.
Yes. I feel so good.
Oh, boy.
I like it.
You're good.
Boomba, baby.
It's kind of ticklish. The first time I met Mr. Mike Barron, I was kind of tickled as well. I was like, wow, I never thought that when I was doing this streaming, I'd meet anyone important.
You haven't.
Oh, now you ruined it. Now you ruined it, Mike.
First time I met Mike, he threatened me. So
And I'll threaten you again when I see you.
yeah,
Well, that's why they call him the Bloody Baron.
I suppose when you're friends, you can threaten each other. I threaten the doctor every day.
He does.
I do.
What do you threaten him with, though?
Evacuation from the premises
Mm-hmm.
as quickly as possible for my satisfaction alone. So, Mr. Dixon, I was asking Mr. Barron, I was saying, if you had to choose the highlight from, I know, of course, I preface it by saying, such an illustrious and incredulous and fantastic career, what would be, say, if you had to pick the most sterling moment of that just sticks in your mind? Boom.
Well, the first one that comes to mind is a few years ago, I was working on a project that Stan Lee was running.
Ooh.
And we were in a conference call with a bunch of, I don't know who the hell they were, but Stan and a bunch of guys. And they're going over what I had handed in. And all of these guys were putting their 2 cents in. And then Stan said, leave Chuck alone. He knows what he's doing.
Ooh, good one. Good one.
So that's that I'm going to take that as a highlight.
Yeah, that's great.
That's beautiful.
That would be good. That would be the one.
That was a really beautiful one, Mr. Dixon. Can I call you Chuck?
Sure.
Oh man, it's really turning out to be a great day. I just called Mr. Dixon Chuck. Feels good.
What a thrill.
I know, there's this kind of rather, yeah, I feel kind of full of myself right now. Not in a bad way. Yeah,
I get that way too, and then I talk to my wife. So
Ooh. Ooh. Well, she knows you well, right?
it brings me right back down to earth. So
wow. Okay. Well, my heart is beating a little bit fast there, as I'll have to slow down there because that was a little too exciting for me. So, Mr. Barron, I'm going to go back to you for a moment, and we'll step in one by one. Like, look at the political climate that we're in right now. So, I'm trying to ask some questions here that perhaps our audience is really interested in, and maybe go beyond the average question where both of your careers are just so incredibly fantastic. Obviously, from Nexus, to Batman, to Bane, you could go across the entire spectrum of everything that's great in comics. But if I were to narrow it down on something, maybe in a contemporary sense, how do you feel about the political climate and the state of the industry and the state of comics now compared to maybe to the way it used to be, say, when you were doing these fantastical historical moments in comics?
Well, we've broken out in open warfare, and it's certainly not the fault of conservatives. Because we've watched the left grow increasingly bizarre and intransigent and going all in on their identity politics. And it's the identity politics to which we object. The writer's first obligation is to entertain, whereas Samuel Goldwyn said, if you want to send a message, call Western Union. We pick the comics up to forget problems, and that doesn't mean that the comics should ignore what's going on in the real world now, but the reader can sense an agenda, and you don't even have to sense a condescending lecture. And a lot of comics these days have become overtly political, and I don't even think entertainment is in the quotient when the equation when these people set out to write these comics. I'm not going to name any of the titles. You know what they are. And I never claimed to be a part of Comicsgate. I woke up one morning and I found I was on a list of creators to be shunned because I'm a conservative. I've been a conservative my whole life, and it doesn't color anything that I do. And I don't have to defend myself against spurious charges of racism or sexism. Because I don't make proclamations. I don't virtue signal. And I think it's the virtue signaling which has turned a lot of people off. And the Comicsgate movement, with one or two exceptions, is simply a return to good storytelling. As far as what's going on in the country right now, it's very bad. I feel that we're headed for civil war. And I don't think it's the fault of normal Americans who go to work and pay their taxes and obey the laws. They just want to get on with their lives. But there's a huge contingent of people out there who are unhappy, and rather than acknowledge the howling void in their own souls, they turn their anger outward and find fault with everything and everyone around them. And then you get these isms, this identity politics. It's just killing everyone. It's killing everything it touches. Instead of judging people as individuals, they judge people by their tribes, their affiliations, their sexual orientations. They just can't see the individual.
I think I just pressed a button. I think this is a hot spot for you, Mike.
That's it.
So let me ask you, Mike, you won't be buying any cryptocurrency, any woke cryptocurrency?
No, I don't know anything about cryptocurrency. I don't think it has anything to do with politics. But
no, I'm talking about woke points.
Woke coins is that a thing?
Woke
Virtue.
points. Yeah, you got it. You know, SJW woke.
Yeah, that's so not a thing for us. We're not even. We're not aware of it.
Okay. Okay. Well, the same question.
Man, we're cautionary comics. We're cool comics.
Okay.
We're very cautionary.
The same political question to the great Chuck Dixon. Please, sir. How do you feel about this?
Well, I mean, once upon a time, you had everybody in the political spectrum working in comics, anarchists, communists. I mean, I worked for communists.
They didn't pay you.
No, they did. They paid. Cat and Dean paid. Yeah. They always treated me well, and I still see Dean now and again and get along with him. But back then it was all about the comics. We might argue over the dinner table about things, but we just went back to making comics, and that's all we really cared about. Now it's flipped. It's all about the politics. Like Mike said, you wake up and you're on a list. I'm number one on the list. Yeah. I mean,
Chuck, you're number one on my list.
Oh, well, thank you.
But my list is good guys.
Yeah. But, I mean, once you start making lists, I mean, these people are so unaware of what it is they're doing.
Well, what do you think is motivating?
Making lists, trying to ban work. I mean, isn't this what the left used to be against? Where's the civil libertarians on the left? They don't exist. Like Mike said, the individual, it's a war on the individual.
So what are these characters' motivations?
I guess to make themselves feel good about themselves, because a lot of the people moving this along aren't from comics. They're from other areas of publishing or music or some other area in the entertainment industry. They really don't care about comics, but they'll leave them in ruins if it makes them look like the cool kids.
Virtuous.
Yeah, exactly.
Virtual signaling. So maybe they're from political agencies as well.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. It's not. I don't think there's a conspiracy. There's simply an understanding that this is what they do, and they control media, and that's the biggest problem. I don't agree we're going to be in a civil war, because all of this is manufactured by the media. The media holds a funhouse mirror up to us that is in no way accurate. This is not America. The America we see on TV, on CNN, and even on Fox. This is not America. This isn't what everybody walks out their front door and sees every day. It's something. It's a shadow play they've created on television.
It's some sort of virtual beast that keeps howling at us.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Bernstein said. It's not a nation; it's a virtual nation, like a cyber nation, and they've created their own and gotten into the media, and they're the influencers.
Ben, what do you think? Ben, jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. I guess even a couple of years ago, I didn't think it was a culture war. You know what I mean? But after even just what I've seen in Comicsgate, it absolutely is. And it's not just comics. It's entertainment, it's education, it's technology. I believe, or maybe I want to believe that, in the next couple of years, people will get back to the center. I think a lot of people are just getting sick of it. And which is why our comics are successful, which is why a lot of the entertainment that's just normal escapism is where everybody's going. That's the difference with Alita Battle Angel and Captain Marvel, right? One's escape, fun entertainment, and one the creators are saying there's going to be college lectures written about this.
There will be. It'll just be how bad it is, though. That's going to be the issue.
Come on, man. Let's go watch. You have two forms of entertainment. You're 16, 18 years old, 20 years old. You have two forms of entertainment. One's just going to be, you can veg out and be, entertained by the spectacle. And one's really going to make you think and write college papers. Which one do you want to spend your money on? Which one sounds fun?
Which one is the one that's going to make me think?
Well, you know what I mean? I mean, it's like, there's a time and a place for that. There's documentary, there's dramas, but a high spectacle superhero bubblegum action flick.
Captain Marvel's not going to make me think unless it's going to make me think, what the F were they thinking?
Yeah. I mean, but that's their agenda, and whatever the agenda is, people can feel it. When you're in school, when you're getting lectured to.
I have no objection to a story that makes me think. But I don't like a story that tells me how to think. Right,
and especially when it's not framed. At least for me, certain movies have that, but it's like Lethal Weapon, a journey of two men that discover. It's just not the same movie.
Oh God!
It's not the flick I want to watch.
Yeah, it's become like an after-school special instead of.
Well, yesterday, since we're on the subject, yesterday it took me about 7 to 10 intermissions to get through Captain Marvel. It was so insanely painful. Mr. Dixon, since you have written quite a few scripts, and I personally am a so-called script doctor, what would you point out as the most bizarre attribute of the script of Captain Marvel?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen it, but I think the problem it shares the same problem that Black Panther had. And I know Black Panther made a fortune, but my God, it was boring. It was the first Marvel movie I've seen that actually bored me to tears. And the problem with Captain Marvel and Black Panther is they've never had a great solo story in the comics. One that we can all look back on and go, oh yeah, that's their Galactus,
right.
That's their Nightfall, and so the Hollywood people had nothing to draw on as far as guidance for how to do a great Captain Marvel story, if there is such a thing.
They did have the Captain Marvel from Jim Starlin, and
but they're not using that one.
Yeah, they're not using it. That's the bizarre part.
That's the guy.
Yeah, seriously. So the female Captain Marvel, she's never had a good story. And as much as I love Black Panther, you can't point to a great solo Black Panther story that they would have used for guidance. And all of the other Marvel movies had that. They had that great story to draw from.
Absolutely. I mean, my mind keeps going back to the original Captain Marvel. And he was in love with Luna, and they had this very thick plot, and he was on Earth, and there were blue skins, and there was racism, and there was all these things going on. It was great. It was interesting. It was very Kirby-ish. And then we got this.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. Baron, did you see the movie?
No.
Oh, everyone here is lucky, except me.
I have not seen it either. I'm not going to, and the funny thing was, none of my kids or nieces or nephews, none of them were asking to go.
Why am I the only idiot in the room again?
I'm telling you, if they asked me to go, if they wanted to go and make them happy and they want to see it, I'd take them. But they're just not jonesing for it. They're not jazzed for it.
Well, I didn't go, but I had a screener, and everyone's like, you have to watch it. I had the screener in the closet for a month.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So
well, I mean, isn't that like part of being a good steward, is like when you come in, you take over a character, you want to make it better than when you came in. I think that both of you guys, you've had illustrious characters. I mean, obviously, Chuck Dixon with Batman, he came in, had Nightfall, he made it better. He broke the Batman with Bane, made it beautiful. And what have they done in the movies and in Gotham's new iteration of Bane? They've destroyed his character.
Well, taking over a long established characters like renting a beach house, you want to leave it the same as as it was when you arrived,
right?
And I don't know if I went in to make Batman better. I just went in to not screw it up, and not ruin it, and not change it in any way to make it unrecognizable for the next group of creators and the next group of readers.
Well, Mr. Dixon, how do you feel about how Bane has been portrayed in the films?
Well, I'm glad they made him a household name. That's the big thing. Because the last movie, Dark Knight Rises, at least that cements him into the canon forever. And, so he's definitely, as hard as it is for me to believe, he's a permanent addition to Batman's Rogues Gallery till the end of time.
Yeah, you can't, he's huge, right? He is a household name now. So that must give you a great sense of satisfaction.
Yeah. That's neat. I never thought I'd write Batman, let alone contribute something like that.
Well, how did that feel? You know, did you have like an initial type of instinct of what you were going to do with Batman when you got into it?
No, just you know, I took a lot of you read the comics, but when it comes time to write them, you got to think of them in an entirely different way. And I took a lot of guidance from Denny O'Neil. I took a lot of guidance from Archie Goodwin, who was editing at the time, and then my own, my own take. Everybody has their own Batman, and a lot of my Batman was from the Adam West series, but I had to keep that hidden from Denny. Except for a few sly references here and there, and then working with Graham Nolan. Graham Nolan gave me a greater understanding of the character because he's a real student of Batman. He knows more about Batman than anybody I've ever met.
Really, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, and he has an astounding collection of like Golden Age Batman stuff. So he knew everything about it. So I took a lot of guidance from him as well. Or I should say, he would stop me when I was violating what he thought was the core of the character.
Well, I'm gonna. Wow, that's so. You obviously you worked with Nolan, obviously.
Yeah.
And wow, that's pretty heavy, right?
There's no proof of that.
But I trust Mr. Dixon, so I'm going to go along with that. So I'm going to ask you a question, Mr. Dixon, about the movies that has been bothering me from day one, and I'm hoping you are going to solve this for me. What was wrong with Batman's voice? Why was he lisping?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Am I wrong? Was he lisping? Was there something wrong with my hearing? What was wrong?
It's just a strange, I don't know.
Throat cancer.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, Chuck, tell me, Chuck.
I don't know. I don't know. I think they got too wrapped up in the secret identity thing where he has to have a completely different voice than he did as Bruce Wayne. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but why would you sound like, I can't even do it, it's so bad. Why would you sound like you have a lisp and you're going, no, I sound like Bane now.
That's not who I am, but what I do, that defines me.
Okay. Doctor, don't make me get the cage out. Okay, first all I want is agreement. This lisp does exist, correct?
Yeah, I could hear it.
Okay, I'm not crazy. So that's a good point. My second point is, you're the director. Everything is on you. You're sitting on the set. You say action, and the voice comes out of Batman sounds, okay, I can't use that word on stream. Sounds very lispy. Don't you say cut?
Well, he would have been saying cut all day because, well, apparently Christopher Nolan doesn't know how to say cut because, the initial the initial finished product when he's done is always like 5 hours long, and then they have literally. I mean, the preview print for Dark Knight Rises showing the Warners was over 4 hours, and then they go back and they cut it down till they find a story.
I love it. Chuck says Nolan doesn't know how to say cut.
No, he just film and then edit until somehow you find a usable 2 hours. That makes sense.
And that's how you keep Hollywood at work.
Yeah, because I mean, Dark Knight Rises, nothing makes sense. There's so many plot holes in that movie. The whole thing is a plot hole.
I love it.
My favorite scene is Joseph Gordon. They got 3,000 Gotham cops who've been trapped under the city. For like a month. None of them grow beards, and strangely, their uniforms remain pressed. But anyway, they're down there for months, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt lowers some Chinese takeout to them down through a manhole cover, and I mean like a dinner for four, and then before he replaces the manhole cover, he says, "I'll be back later with more." Wow. You better be back with like a semi-trailer. And then I could picture the cops arguing over the food. That's mine. I ordered that.
I can picture them killing each other over the food.
Yeah, seriously. I think they still had their guns, right? So,
yeah. The toughest man gets to eat.
I always thought it was when he was like, yeah, you cop who can't do anything and was completely useless this whole time. You're going to be the new Batman. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh no, the Robin thing, the whole Robin thing. Chuck, what was up with the Robin thing?
I just thrown it. Somebody at a meeting said, "I have an idea. And of course, in Hollywood, when a producer says you have an idea, you all go, "That's a great idea."
Yeah, if you want to keep your phony baloney job.
Exactly, because you ain't going to sit at that table anymore if you don't think that everything that guy says is genius.
Oh my God, that was genius! Robert just came out of nowhere, and fantastic. Someone give that kid a rubber suit.
Canales.
Oh, Canales is in the house, and Canales says Bane is Canales in fictional life. I don't know about that. Canales is a friend of ours, so we had to give him a shout out. Right. Just saying. So, Chuck, you've written quite a few scripts, haven't you?
Yeah.
Tell me what your favorite one was.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm able to invest myself in everything. I can't think of anything I didn't enjoy writing.
I know, but there's always one that just pops up and goes, "Oh."
Well, I did a detective annual of Batman as a pirate, and I knew that it was one of those Elseworlds things, and I knew that Kiki Alcatena was going to be the artist on it, so I knew it was going to look like Howard Pyle drew it. Ooh. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, because I love the pirate stuff, and then coming up with the crazy new names and situations, and the idea that it was all going to look gorgeous at the end. That was a joy to write.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Mike, your favorite script?
These New Florida Man scripts I've written are the best comics I've ever written.
Oh, I'm gonna agree, man. I'm a huge Mike devotee, and Mike knows this. I embarrass him all the time.
Chuck, I sent you the script to #1. Did you read it?
Yes, it's genius. It's the best thing you've ever written. It's the best thing you've ever written. It's seriously.
Chuck said it's genius.
It's pants pissingly funny, and like I said, I mean, Mike is the guy I followed into this business. I work in his shadow, and but this is like amazing.
I'm under so much shadow right now. I'm freezing. I'm going to need a parka. Wow. So this is Mike's best book.
Well, as a comic, I write novels too, and I have 13 in print, but they're different animals.
Right. Very different.
It's just that I can tell when a script pops on every page. Snap, crackle, pop. That's what a good script should do. There should be no humdrum spaces where you're just kind of glossing through and nothing's happening. No, every panel has to add to the page.
You mean it shouldn't be like a Captain Marvel scene where they're sitting in a luncheonette or whatever the bloody hell it's called, and they just kind of poke each other with forks for about half an hour?
I wouldn't know.
Have you been reading Plastic Man again?
Of our scripts. We don't allow that at Cautionary.
Well, now I have to get Florida Man because Chuck Dixon just said it was genius.
Right? It just got the Chuck approval. We got to do this thing.
I want it so bad now. I feel dizzy.
I think we need an official Indie-Cron copy so that we can check this out.
I just spoke to Todd, the artist, and he says he will be able to begin working on Florida Man in May, and hopefully we'll have our first issue out before the end of the year.
Well, before that, actually, the end of this month, we're doing which is Mike Barron. We're doing Off-Worlder in the Raid.
That's right. And I'm very proud of those scripts. Those are Ben's ideas.
We're going to jump into Cautionary in just a moment because I know there's a lot going on there. And it's all going to be on Indie-Cron. So don't forget that, everyone. Let's go back to scripts for one moment because I was really curious. Chuck, a movie script.
Yeah.
Your fave. Hit me.
Yeah.
That you've done because you've done quite a few movie scripts. Yeah.
No, I haven't done any movie scripts.
Oh, I thought you have.
No, I hate writing movie scripts.
Oh well, bad on me. I thought you had. Yeah, I thought.
I did a thing for Lionsgate with Stallone.
Oh yeah, that's what I read. Yeah, that's
like a web content thing. It was supposed to be animated. I hated every minute of writing it. I hate writing in final draft. I hate writing screenplays. I love movies, but for some reason I don't think in terms of movies when I'm writing. Wow, so I recently had an offer to write a screenplay and turned it down, and the guy was really quiet on the phone for a long time, and then said, "No one's ever said that to me before." I'll write treatments, and I've written quite a few treatments recently, but nothing finished.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, and so now you're in Cautionary Comics, and what is your role there? I take it you're the editor, or writing?
No, I'm the editor.
No, okay. Mike's the editor.
Give me the lowdown. I'm not quite certain what it is precisely.
Well, we're creating a universe where all the characters interact. Ravager, Offworlder, and the Wraith. Ravager is printed as I speak and will be going out next week.
Yeah.
That's Chuck's title. Imagine a
Okay,
world
Chuck's
without
title-
men.
Chuck's title is Ravager.
Rabbit.
Ravage. That Chuck and I did together.
Okay,
So, yeah,
I
that
haven't
was
seen.
next week.
Ben, have you shown a cover or anything for this?
Oh yeah, yeah. Ben,
Oh.
put that cover up there.
I don't have it on this laptop, but yeah, it's it's the one that we did the Indiegogo crowdfunding for last year. Ravage Kill All Men.
Oh, okay. Ravage Kill All Men. Okay, I thought it was another title. Yeah, of course, I know Ravage Kill All Men. I thought you were coming out with another one to be part of the. I think you said you were putting 4 books on Indiegogo soon.
Well, we're putting 2 more at the end of the month: Offworlder and the Wraith.
Okay.
Right.
Chuck, are you going to be doing another book for
Yeah,
Cautionary Comics?
I brought a project to Ben basically this week. We're going to talk
Love
about it
it.
more on Monday.
Yeah, I love it. And then we're also doing the rest of Ravage 2 through 5. I'm thinking about June. We'll be offering the rest of the saga where you can you'll have a chance to get another copy of number 1. Maybe the retail copy. The Indiegogo copies that we did last year that's it. So like the Graham Nolan cover, for example, we're printing 250 of those bad boys, and that's what you're getting. So yeah, then we'll be offering. So Ravage will be offering the complete saga. You'll get. It's almost like a comic of the month club. You'll get every couple of months. You'll get issue 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then at the end of the year, you'll get the whole graphic novel. Depending on the tier that you choose, you can get a nice leather bound or just some reader copies. I love having those. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff cooking.
So how does Cautionary Comics function? Is it like Image Comics was, where you have like each individual's doing the separate thing? Is it like Marvel? How is the whole thing put together?
It's like a garage band.
Yeah, seriously.
That's what it is. We're all jamming on different stuff. We'll pick up different instruments and then say, oh, I have this idea, and so a lot of how like the Offworlder, the Wraith, and Ravage started. I did start coming from screenplays. So Ravage was originally called Savage. It was an old script. All of them were, and I rewrote them from 2006 to 2016 into one shared comic book universe. Then I was lucky enough in 2016 to hook up with Chuck and Mike and Brett Smith, and and make these stories even better and more relatable. Not even more relatable. Basically fit better with sequential visual storytelling that I originally had it. So, for me also this past year, I felt it's like a mentorship program. I get to ask these guys wonderful questions and see how they rework my material and look at it a different way than I did. And it's just been great. So
so there isn't like one head editor, or there isn't like a Stan Lee or any type of hierarchy in Cautionary Comics?
Well, I'm the editor-in-chief.
Right. So, the stories that we bring on have to get past, Mike Barron has to get past Chuck Dixon. We're not bringing on everybody, but we have brought on some great, Earthbound is an awesome story. We have some, individual projects we're bringing on, Blood by, that's going to be Dixon and Brett R. Smith doing that together. That's coming in.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. It's a werewolf. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or
No. Do some Chuck Blood. Yeah.
Chuck, did you want to talk about that a little bit, or is that previous?
Yeah. It's Brett Smith brought me this movie treatment by these guys who are looking to produce this werewolf movie, and they asked me if I wanted to turn it into a graphic novel, because that's how you sell stuff in Hollywood. So right. I agreed, and we did it, and it looks gorgeous. It looks great. It's a period werewolf film, sort of set. It's not a Western, but it's set in the West, like in the 1890s.
So it's like Underworld meets Westerns.
Yeah, but it's not really a Western. I don't want to call it a Western, because my definition of Western is pretty strict. But it's definitely a werewolf story in a period setting. But it's pretty cool with some real neat twists and turns in the story. So it isn't just a hairy guy running through the woods for 100 pages.
Well, it's a Chuck Dixon extravaganza, so I would expect some twists and turns, right?
Yeah, I think I used extravaganza on the.
As well, you should. So what I'm curious about here, Ben, is that how did you become so fortuitous to hook up with what is arguably, or perhaps not arguably, two of the best writers in comics?
I always tell everybody, it's and the honest truth is it's all due to my magic hat. And it's nothing helped me in life. I have a set of rings that I hand out. I give them to Dixon, so now he's creatively bound to me.
Okay, this kind of reminds me of this character. I think it was in Justice League. His name was Max, and he conned everyone all the time.
Maxwell Lord?
Yeah, Maxwell Lord. And he just kept conning everyone. That's who Ben is starting to remind me of.
Hey, the real story of how I met Chuck is in Bleeding Fool. So if everybody wants the real full story, Okay,
but I can't go to Bleeding Cool right now as I'm running my stream. So just give me
the highlight is it's magic and luck. Magic and luck.
Okay, so if I go out and buy some magic beans and wear my lucky shoes, will I get to meet Chuck Dixon one day?
Now that's just foolish.
Okay, well, I just can't win here. I just can't win.
But if you hunt gators, you might run into Mike.
That's leather, okay? That's a magic rings, silver. I mean,
okay, rings. Okay, let me see. Magic hat, rings,
right.
Alligators.
Depends on how you work with them, honestly. But they're old souls. But the main thing is, just all of us coming together, out of need for, I guess to seriously answer the question, it's amazing that all of us have been able to write with Chuck and Mike and have their guidance and the reason we do have that, and I believe it wholeheartedly, is
thank you. That's what I'm trying to hit on.
There was a purge of conservative voices in comics. There was a gassing, where it doesn't matter how creative and what you've done in the past. It doesn't matter what you've done with these characters. If you weren't politically aligned right, then that's it. We've had issues with conventions, for no reason. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I guess at a macro level, that's what enabled all of us, enabled me to be able to work with Dixon and Mike. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's what kind of brought this opportunity into the forefront, or a possibility for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that these guys should be, the editors in chief of DC and Marvel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah,
and I'd be lucky, hey, maybe I'd write something in one of those companies. But I think, but what's better for all of us is that we're making our own IP. We're making our own intellectual property with our own stories. Nobody will be as passionate about our stories as we are. Nobody will be as passionate about our characters as we are. And
no one else will own your characters.
Right. I worked in movie. I think we talked about this before, but I worked at Orb Films. I had a little indie film company, and I got a script optioned, all that kind of stuff. Right. What I hated about it was writing by committee. You have to write by this guy, or like Chuck said, everybody has to say this guy's idea is amazing. I can't work that way. I want to work with the people that I want to work with, that I respect. And other than that, I'm just not going to do it.
Okay. And so how do you see Cautionary's role in the industry right now? What do you see? How do you see it in the future?
I see us maybe, we're definitely disruptors, as all of the new companies that are starting out are. I definitely see us being a company that continues, whether we're mainstream or not, quote unquote, that doesn't really matter. It matters if we're telling universal stories that as many people as possible can jump onto, and that's what we're trying to do. Is universal myth,
Chuck, how do you see Cautionary? I'm curious.
Well, I mean, comic sales are at probably an all-time low right now. So we're not in competition for the current crop of comic readers. We're reaching out to the vast, untapped potential comic book audience, the people who've walked away from comics,
Right.
And offer them something, different, and more earnest. And more energized.
And hopefully people who have never read a comic before. I think that's what Florida Man is all about. I think it's going to have wide appeal, way beyond the normal comic book audience, because anybody who follows the news is aware of these recurring stories from Florida.
Are you talking about that bloke who was running through 7-Eleven carrying a gator, and he was like, I love my gator?
That's in the book.
Of course it's in the book.
Florida is so nuts. I mean, our county sheriffs are like national figures. Everybody knows who Grady Tate is. He's the county sheriff of Polk County because he's on the news.
Chuck Israel is too, unfortunately.
Yeah, but Tate's on the news like 3 times a week with like the wackiest story you've ever heard at his press conference.
I mean, Chuck and I love it. We're Florida men.
Yeah,
we're down here. We're living the life.
I love what Mike's doing. It's so accurate.
Great. It's so great.
Yeah, to the Florida natives I meet here and the crazy stuff you run into, and it's just a beautiful thing. But the thing is about cautionary. I mean, you're hearing Ben talk. He's the nuclear reactor. He's the core of this whole thing. His energy, his earnestness. I mean, when he first approached me, I didn't know who the hell he was, right? And he gave me all his bona fides. What does that mean? He could say he's anybody. I don't know. I can't check up on him. And then he tells me the story for Ravage, Kill All Men. And I'm like, whoa. And then he starts telling me all of his other plans. But quite honestly, Ben, I didn't hear anything you said after you told me about Ravage because my wheels started turning.
Yeah.
I thought, man, this is such an awesome story. And it hits every politically incorrect button. It checks off every box.
And that's why I knew we had to lead with it.
It's so offensive. And it's like 70s grindhouse in your face. And I loved it, and I said, "Man, I can go nuts on this thing." And he let me go nuts. I mean,
that was like one of the best days of my life. Hearing that, I was like, "Really? You want to do that one? Right on?" Because I said, "Hey, I got whatever you want to do. I got all these, whatever we can do. I got, we're ready to rock with it." It's just been a dream come true. It's just been amazing, and what Chuck brought to it was it's just been not only a learning process, but it made Ravage better and funnier, and I like the characters better, the characterization and the dialogue and how you approached it. It's just been awesome, and it's just getting better and better.
The fantastic story of Cautionary is the fact that Ben won Chuck Dixon over with his vivacious nature and his fantastic story, and then the great Chuck Dixon said, "Hell yeah, I got to do that."
Yeah, because you get these. I get asked all the time. You want to write my comic book? It's about the ultimate battle between good and evil. And then here comes this guy who sounds like a NASCAR color commentator, and he's telling me this insane story about these women on an island and these 2 guys laying there. And I'm like, holy crap! I got to be on this.
Mr. Dixon,
when people ask me the same thing now, and I've only been, really a year or so, but I've gotten a lot of people, "Hey, we want to do this with your company, or do you like my story?" But what I would tell everybody is, if you can't tell the story like you're around an old campfire, like an old Scottish storyteller, just sitting there weaving a yarn, if you can't explain your own story verbally, that you probably don't got it, and if you can't get excited about what you're talking about, why is anybody going to be excited to read it?
Yeah, but I think the point here is, Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong, but as you said, many people have come up to you and said, "Hey, do you want to write my comic book?" But what made you believe Ben?
The earnestness and the story itself. I mean, he just seemed so into it and everything else. And it wasn't like he was too cool for school or anything like, it's just, I just felt like this is a guy I could deal with, and he was so anxious to know more about how comics worked.
So he was very enthusiastic to say.
Yeah, and when people come to me and they're newbies in the comic field, and all I say to them is, "I'll help you as long as you do everything I say without question." and Ben was fine with that. And those are the people that I've always been able to help. The people who think they already know it all, you can't help them because they know. Oh well, I follow the websites. Well, you don't know anything then.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
We do, and I know coming from a screenwriting perspective, or even a novel writing perspective, or any writing perspective, you know things, but comic book writing is very different than other mediums.
And the comic book world, I mean, you need a list of people. You need a list of people to stay away from.
Right. Right. Well, I should have listened earlier, but
could you email me that list, please?
I need this list.
We all need this list, Chuck, please.
No. That's after you pass the test. You got to go find the Bimini Road. Read the Bleeding Fool article.
Oh, no, no, no. I know how to do this now. I just have to find Chuck Dixon and be extremely enthusiastic. And then I'm in.
You found him. He's
You
right
have to
there.
have a good story. You know, that's the key part. You gotta have a good story.
I think drinks and hookers come into play here somewhere.
Don't give out my secrets, Jean-Luc.
Before that, page rates. So
Yeah.
Oh, now we're talking. Okay, now I'm
Mojitos,
beginning.
baby. He's in Florida.
I'm beginning to understand now.
So
exactly.
I got a for Mike. You know, I was when I was looking over some of the history for talking about the interview here today. It looks like I like to consider you almost like an OG CG, OG Comicscape, because you had 2 characters you created on your own, and you've kept them alive for over 20 years through different comic books. Are you going to put those in cautionary?
No. We have a new Nexus series debuting later this year from Dark Horse. And in fact, dude's already illustrated 70 pages of it, so we're ready to go, and it'll be an ongoing series, I believe. I'm struggling with First over Badger. I'm trying to get a green light on a new series. It's very hard to get hold of the publisher and to get his attention, but we will work at it.
Well, that's good. I mean, I think the Doctor actually knew, hopefully, that Nexus, is owned by other people, right?
No, Nexus is owned by Steve Rude and Mike Barron.
Good.
Badger is wholly owned by First Comics, and that's why I can't just do what I want.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was alluding to. And so, but you are in talks with them.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's good news. It would be great to see Badger free, so to speak, in the wild.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to charge.
Oh yeah,
I'd like to see Badger free too, but
no.
Government grant.
I don't mind paying for some Badger, but what I meant was you've got to get your hands on it first.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
Well, we did a series 4 years ago. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay, then you're all caught up.
Oh no, I'm all caught up. I'm good. I'm good on my Mike Barron. No, don't worry, sir.
I want to put in a word for my novels. And before I do that, I got to say Chuck is writing a series called the Levon Cade series, which is as hard-boiled as it gets. It reminds me of Jim Thompson. It actually made me sick with jealousy when I read his book.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but I have a series called Bad Road Rising. There are 4 now in print, and there are 3 more that are finished. The 4th novel, Sons of Bitches, is about a woman who puts out a Muhammad comic.
What?
Yeah, now, most of my stuff is, and it's not a political tract. It's investigating. It's based on the story of Molly Norris, who's a cartoonist in Seattle, and about 7 or 8 years ago, she said, "Well, what's the deal with drawing Muhammad? Let's have everybody draw Muhammad Day." And the death threats started to pour in, and the police told Molly, they urged her to change her name and go underground, and that's what they did. Bad Road Rising is about a reformed motorcycle hoodlum, Josh Pratt, goes to prison, finds God, gets out, and tries to turn his life around. The only work he can get is delivering summons for sleazy lawyers, but people keep coming to him with their problems because he knows how to get things done. He straddles the line between illegality and civility. And in the 4th issue, Sons of Bitches, this woman comes to him and says, "I didn't mean anything about it. I just thought it would be a good subject for a comic, but now I'm getting death threats." So Josh agrees to protect her, and that's what the story's about.
I like the word straddles.
Me too.
That worked well for me.
Straddles, yeah, baby.
That's enough. It's sold.
Mr. Dixon, I wanted to ask you, do you think the genre of comics in and of itself, do you think it's moving away from spandex? Because it seems like a lot of the titles here aren't really spandexy, right?
Well, I mean, it's more like we've been pushed away from the superhero genre by the output at DC and Marvel. But the thing is, I mean, if you're going to start up an independent company, you don't want to compete on the superhero field, because more than one publisher has found out that nobody gives a rat's butt about superheroes if they aren't from Marvel or DC. So, if you're not working on Spider-Man, I mean, we see a lot, Mike and I know a ton of artists who are really great, but unless they're working on one of those marquee characters, nobody cares what they do. Writers as well. I mean, yeah, I mean, why do another superhero story? when there's so many other genres to be explored. And it's about time superheroes were toppled as the #1 genre in comics anyway. They weren't always. There was romance, there was kids comics, there was
monster
horror,
comics,
there was war, there was Western. They were all #1 at one time or another. And then superheroes took over because basically the geeks took over the industry.
I mean, that's why manga's doing so well. They have all of those extra subgenres. You know, they have the romance. They have different kinds of romance and war and sci-fi and everything.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite manga is about surf casting. I mean,
wow, there you go, man.
So there's one about almost every. I mean, they have golfing manga.
That's golfing manga. I tried to read that one, but it put me to sleep.
Then it worked. It was just like golf.
Like golf mashups, like a lot of mine are, like a horror action sci-fi mashup story. That's what I would classify even Alien as. Back in the day, it had horror and action, sci-fi.
That's what my book is. My book's called Fireball. It's going to be sci-fi action horror.
I love that. I have one Terraforma that's like that. It's a cool. I like mashups like that. The Grindhouse, the extreme kind of action story.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun. So I think that's the future of comics. I'm going to find myself agreeing with Chuck. Wow, that's smart of me, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I've never gone astray.
Obviously, I'm not going to disagree with you. Hey, this guy agrees with me. He's a genius.
I know. I feel smarter already, and more likable as well. It's working. I just have this feeling that the longer I stand next to Chuck, the better I'll do in life. I think Ben's reaping some of those rewards as well, aren't you, Ben?
Totally. I mean, are you kidding me?
We're in agreement again. Wow.
This is a big love fest.
He's having his best day ever.
Fantastic. Okay, well, we're just about to sign off. If anyone wants to push plug or travel to another part of the earth, say so now.
Well, folks, go to Amazon, go to books, and type in my name, Mike Barron. See what pops up, and then buy everything that you see.
Good move.
That gets a big thumbs up for me.
Me too.
So you all want us to just buy Mike Barron, none of your stuff?
Yeah, well,
we got Offworlder and Wraith coming out at the end of the month, and Ravage is shipping next week. So that's been amazing, and we got more stuff to come.
Wow, fantastic, Mr. Dixon. Anything?
Ravage is exciting. The Levon Cage series. I got a new Bad Times book out, a novel about time travel. Ooh. So, like Mike said, just plug my name into Amazon, see if there's anything there you like.
And then buy all of them.
Mr. Dixon's just so damn lovable.
Oh, gosh.
It's like a Build-A-Bane bear,
Wow. I'm amazed. Well, it's that time again. God, I heard the music start. What a great show. So much laughter and admiration and joy in my heart. Wonderful meeting all the panel again. Everyone, come back soon because hopefully we'll have a show almost as good as this one.
Thank you.
This one was great. Thank you, everyone. And hail Comics Gate. Cheers.